Dear friends, today I am going to be a little bit critical. If you remember from one of the last battles that I showed you, the one with the SU8 that was during the Times 5 XP weekend, maybe you didn't notice I had provided no commentary. In that battle, in the beginning we had the Tiger 131 went out, totally out in the open, completely out in the open, got shot and killed in the first minute. There were two AFK tanks, which for the first minute didn't move. And then a Tiger 1 top tier went up on the top of the hill where usually light tanks go to spot. On the top of the hill, right at the very top, and sat there, and it got shot and died. And of course that was a complete landslide. That was my experience quite often during the Times 5 XP weekend, and not just the last one. It has been very often my experience, and I've talked to some of my clanmates, their experience is the same. That during the Times 5 XP weekends they have way too many losses compared to victories. My feeling is that I have tracked them. I made a note of the past. I haven't kept the record, but over a weekend I track how I'm doing. The last weekend, XP weekend, on the first day was a Friday. I had a win rate of about 35% or 33 or 35% after about 20 odd battles. On the second day, I had about 30 battles with a win rate of 20%. And on the third day, I had a win rate about 40%. Might have been a little bit over, but it wasn't much about that. Now, usually my win rate is about 50%. Moreover, there was one particular tank, this one, the 212A, where, as you will see, I used to have a very high win rate, more than 50% clearly. On some recent months, it was as high as 66%. And this particular month, the one that we just had, the win rate was about 45%. And you can see it here. In addition, when I finished, yesterday's near the end of the month, I finished playing this tank. I had already more than 50 battles. I was 32nd in the whole of the EU in this tank. But the win rate I had in this tank during the weekend was 13%. It was extremely frustrating. It was after 14 battles, I only had one victory. And on the 15th battle, the last one, I got another victory. So out of 15 battles, I had two victories. That's 13% win rate. And it was similar with some of the other tanks. I said on Saturday I had a 20% win rate. Over the whole day, playing about 30 games. This has been my experience, not just my experience, but my clanmates. When I discuss it with them, they say that they don't know what's happening on the Times 5 XP weekend. So here I was making and kind of sending some messages to my clan. I'm saying whenever we have 5 Times 5 XP weekends, never ever has my win rate been above 30 to 40%. That's not quite true, maybe about 45% maximum, I would say. Never above 45% maximum, but that sort of range, 30 to 40%, that's not unusual. Less than that, I had 23%, 28% on particular days, and on Saturday, 20%. So today, after 17 battles, 23%. Yeah, I played a few more, and it was 20% after I played more battles. So I suppose I'm not alone, but my question is, who are the ones who are winning? And as I said, my teammates said, my clanmates said the same thing. They don't understand. Some thought maybe the unicorns do it. So I'm continuing with my comments. Win rate 10 to 21%. So I kept playing. 4 wins, 15 losses, and I have later on other videos where I show that what my final win rate was after at least 20 battles. So my tendency is to stop playing after a few battles, maybe 5-10 battles. If we're in a situation like the win rate is low, I don't understand why that happens. I don't have an answer. It's a rhetorical question. On the times 5 XP weekends, I continue playing, let's say up to 20 or 30 battles per day. It's a weekend because I want to gather XP for some of my vehicles. But does Wargaming have an answer? I don't have an answer. I show this particular battle. I didn't study all my battles. So that particular battle, it was completely by chance. I recorded it because I did okay. I got first class and I had some nice action in that battle. Killed like a shotgun the light tank near the end. So it was kind of an interesting battle for me. So I recorded it. I noticed from the very beginning that the Tiger 131 had gone to suicide, that there were 2 FK tanks. I hadn't noticed the Tiger 1 that went to suicide until after the replay. Why is that the case? For some players, the only thing I can think of, this is just my hypothesis, is that there are a lot of players that are not playing. And it's a bit of a conspiracy theory, but I know others have said something like this, that when players come back after a long time, Wargaming wants to give them an easy time. And so, because I am one of the more experienced players in the team, probably the other team has slightly less experienced players on average because it doesn't have me. So, like, it's missing 1 out of 15 people experienced because I'm in my own team. I'm not in the enemy team. And so, that means that we have fewer inexperienced players by chance in our team compared to the enemy team. And if there are many inexperienced players, then Wargaming kind of multiplies some kind of modifier they want to give them. Now, I don't know what this modifier would be. It could be that they try to put them together with some very good... If you get an inexperienced player, then it's coming back to the game. Perhaps Wargaming tries to put him with a team that has experienced players so that he wins. So that his team wins and starts winning, and so he gets hooked back into the game. And if you have 2 or 3 or 4 inexperienced players coming on times 5 weekends, and the enemy team has 4, but my enemy team has 3 because it has me, and maybe the other, by chance the other team has more because, it doesn't have me. If you can understand, I tend to play a lot. So, if the enemy team has fewer experienced players, more inexperienced players, the experienced players he gets are going to be of higher skill. Now, that's just a hypothesis, it's just an idea, maybe. So it's an objective thing, if you like. Just the wargaming isn't really making things hard for you. It's just trying to make things easy for inexperienced players. But, by chance, your enemy teams on such weekends has more inexperienced players because of, the way it works. And therefore, because there are more experienced players in the enemy team, those who are experienced have higher skill level. And so overall, the enemy teams win. And that's my theory. Maybe. I'm not saying that's what it is. Very frustrating situation for those of us who want to get some experience for their crews on those weekends. Very frustrating, not just for me. That's my only guess. Thank you for listening.